Now, repeating yourself, let me ask you about this because I'm getting to the point, my mother-in-law is starting to repeat stories. How do we know, where's the cutoff of, repeating a good story of something happening to you versus, how do we know that line?
I'm not a doctor, but you go with your gut. If your mom has always been sharp and with it, and in the first 5 minutes she's telling you the same story, or did I tell you this, or I just saw my neighbor, and then 2 minutes later, did I tell you that I just bumped into my neighbor? Or
okay.
It's out of the norm. You know your parents best, so you have to trust your gut, and that's a hard thing. So many times a family member will come to us and we ask them, what brought you to Oakmont? And there's always a reason why somebody makes that phone call or walks in the door to just get information. Something's happened, and you don't want to admit it because it's your parent. It's saying things aren't the way that they used to be.
Right.
And that's a hard thing. So again, back in that house, open the refrigerator. Is it filled with food? Look at the food. Is the milk expired? Is the bread stale? Does the fruit look like it hasn't been touched? Are they eating? Are there good choices in there? Go into the bathroom. Look around. Are there medications placed haphazardly? If they're using a medication box, look at it. If it's Tuesday and all the
meds are still in there,
meds are still there, that's a sign. And we can't always trust our parent. Are you eating, Mom? Of course I am.
Right.
Did you take your medicine? Of course I did.
Now, why do they do? Is it a sign of? Are they trying to protect each other themselves? Or I'm sure they're not doing it on purpose. But I'm going through this. I was telling you off air with my parents-in-law, my husband's parents. My mother-in-law is constantly making excuses for my father-in-law, and it's getting worse and worse. And we're at the point now, the kids want to take away the keys. She won't take away the keys. I'm sure you've heard the same story before.
Yeah. And it's hard to say, but, I think there's a fear component, definitely. If you take my keys away, I've lost my independence. That's, driving, you think about everything is stemmed from that transportation. So I think there's a fear. I think there's sometimes a pride. And I think sometimes we try to talk logically, and unfortunately, sometimes they're not able to have that logical conversation. So many times I've heard adult children talking to their parents, that it's not time to drive. And, I noticed a scratch on your car. That's something... Sorry, Mom, but we do that with my mom who's still driving. We look at the car. Is there a new scratch? Is there a dent? They'll always have an excuse because they're fine.
Sure.
I've been driving 50 years. I've been driving 60 years. I've been driving since I was 12. I'm a good driver. It's the other person, or it was the fence that I didn't see, or I accidentally... hit the wrong button, or it was a technical failure. They'll have every excuse in the book.
Sure, we're encountering that right now.
And they're very good at it. And it's having the guts and trusting your gut and saying, this is not safe. There is no place that you need to go or that Dad needs to go that's going to risk you killing yourself or you killing somebody else. And it seems drastic, but that's what it comes down to. They're driving an automobile.
You're keeping them safe. You're keeping other people safe.
Yes.
It's kind of, it sounds so harsh to be taking things away from your parents, but you are saving their life, maybe the life of someone else on the road, but it's such a hard thing to do. So when you see people coming into Oakmont and they take tours of this gorgeous facility, what do they usually, what do you advise these people to do to get the paperwork in order? What's the timeline?
It depends on the community. I think being proactive is the best. Coming in, whether you come in by yourself and take a tour, take that first step and see what is assisted living, what is Oakmont, what do you offer, what does it cost, how does this work? So at least in your mind, you have an idea, because I still think that people, when they think assisted living, they are picturing skilled nursing. They're picturing people lined up in wheelchairs and people reaching out and grabbing, and
right.
that smell that we all know. And,
smell.
and that so is not what Oakmont is. It's a community. It's a social model. It's seniors that are choosing this alternative lifestyle. Some more willing than others, definitely.
Right.
But I think adult children need to come in and look so that when they present it to their parent, at least they have an understanding.
Sure.
And then, a lot of communities, you can go on a wait list. If you're not ready right now, you can get on a wait list. Some people have long-term care insurance, so they can start exploring that option so that when something happens, because usually something's going to happen.
Right.
It's not, if it's when it happens, you're prepared. Once that incident happens, whether that fall happens and a hip is broken, they get pneumonia, they aren't eating, they get dehydrated, and we start that downward spiral, you start to lose control. You start being forced to make decisions.
Exactly.
And emotion takes over, and so you're not thinking clear. So the more informed you can be prior, the better you're going to be when something happens. And it happens.
Do you have people come in and take the tour and say, you know what, they're fine right now, but I just need to see what's out there, what do you have people who do that?
Absolutely. And
who are
we
proactive?
Encourage people to come out and take a look and see. We welcome that because, knowledge is power.
Exactly.
And there's nothing worse than getting that phone call in the middle of the night, from the hospital or from your parent. Dad's fallen.
I've gotten that call.
We need you to come right now, or it's the paramedic calling you, and you're taking that drive to wherever you have to drive, and then you're thrown into it, and you're still trying to deal with your life.
Exactly, It's tough. I tell you what. Let's do a bit of business. I'll do some traffic, and then will you stick around?
Absolutely.
We'll eat cookies and talk some more.
Deal.
Okay, great. 4:53 AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. I'm Tori, and in studio with me is Margie Weiss from Oakmont Senior Living, and we were talking about her facility and basically adult children when it's time to maybe make the decision to moving forward into kind of a senior care facility. I personally went through it with my dad. We are now going through it personally with my husband's dad, and he's out of state. And I think the biggest lesson I learned with my dad, all of a sudden, Margie, it's right in your face, and you have to deal with it. You have no choice anymore. You don't have time to take tours. Your tours end up being a 5-minute tour instead of a really extensive tour. Like you're just hit in the face. And if that's the biggest thing I can say, I don't know if you agree with me, is just do your research. Know ahead of time if you even think you're going down this road.
Absolutely. And the bottom line is we're all going to go down that road at some point if we have parents that are still living. That's part of life. You're going to get every argument. You're going to get every obstacle most of the time. I don't want to leave my home. I'm fine. You can't tell me what to do. I don't want to go. We've had adult children that are getting ready to move a parent in, and the parent refuses. That might happen. But if it would have been a gradual process, if we would have done the research, presented it when they have control and choice, and it's okay to say, I'm not ready now. You know what? You're right, Mom. It's not time now, but we want you to see it. So if you ever need it, it's not going to be scary to you. You're going to know what it is. So it's planting the seed. It's becoming educated. It's being prepared for when it happens.
And not only that, I remember talking to doctors, insurance companies. Oh, that is another huge headache that you have to deal with, because are they insured? Are they, do they get veterans benefits? Are they, there's...
You have done this.
I have. It's an amazing, how long is the stay? You broke a hip, you get 120 days. There are so many different, the rehab versus the assisted living.
Right.
If you just do what Margie says, please, if there's one thing I can tell you from personal experience, do what Margie says, do your research, go on a tour. And I'm looking at the pictures of Oakmont of Santa Clarita, and you said you opened up in January. Mm-hmm. So brand spanking new. And it's just gorgeous. The pictures on here, it's not anything you're imagining. I can tell you right now, the dining room is not like cafeteria. It's this beautiful, it looks like you're in a restaurant.
It is a restaurant.
Right?
Yeah. We have an executive chef and an everyday menu with gourmet sandwiches and salads and specials. Yesterday they had, I went into the dining room right around dinner time just to kind of say goodnight and check in. And there was a Chinese Asian feast buffet set up as a special event. And everybody was reading their fortunes on their cookies and eating. And it was like, wow.
I think we grew up with horror stories of nursing homes decrepit.
Yes.
And I think we grew up with that mentality.
Yes.
And I think it's spread like wildfire. And it's just not the case anymore. It's not, well, there are those places, don't get me wrong.
And there's a need for skilled nursing and rehab.
But this is not that.
This is not that. This is not that at
No.
all. This is a social model. It is a wonderful alternative for seniors that want to be taken care of and not have a worry in the world except
Yes.
what's my next activity? And
Exactly.
It's like being on a cruise ship.
Friends,
You're just not
peers,
going anywhere.
exactly. If you want more information, I'm looking at this gorgeous website. The pictures really, 1,000 words in picture. Oakmont of Santa Clarita.com. Margie, is there a number if they want to call you personally? Is there any number to get a hold of you?
Sure. They can call Oakmont at 661-295-2025. We're on Newhall Ranch Road, just off the 5 freeway, in between the 5 and Copper Hill.
Fantastic. Margie, thank you so much. Thank you for my cookies. And thank you for talking personally about all this stuff. Do your research, please. I'm begging.